Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast! I'm really so not YouTube famous. I've been saying it so long. People are like, do you really? Of course I don't think that. My dogs do, but I don't. I'm YouTube shimmy famous now. The album available in 2021. Dad. AF. Friends are friends forever. Not always. Tati, Jeffrey, James, Shane. Friends are friends sometimes, not always. I went to a party last Saturday night. I didn't get laid. I got in a fight. That's a little bit more appropriate. I sat on a couch. Shane Dawson. I rode a horse in nature. That's probably where Tati is. Riding a horse out there somewhere. And Shane Dawson, I'm sure he's sitting there with the remote on his couch. So bitter that he can't get up on the Instagram and sell his merch. All right, let's talk about Shane Dawson and Tati Westbrook. It has been quite a minute since I have talked about them and speculated where they're at. And I was driving around and I was thinking to myself, you know, back in the day, you know, somebody could be missing for a week and I would do like a video. Well, actually, all the drama channels would do a video and be like, where's Tati? Where's Patrick Starr? Where's Jeffree Star? Oh, he's in a plane and he flew to Europe, you know? But like, we would make this big deal out of it, you know? And I was like, but no, like for real, like I really want to know, like, what are they doing behind the scenes? Because they just completely checked out, right? So I went into Shane's Twitter and I like went back to read the tweets and I was like, I don't kind of even remember, like so much happened and I feel like it happened so quick that I was like, I don't even remember really like how it all went down. So we're gonna do a quick history lesson. I'm gonna be educated as well, even though I made videos about all this kind of stuff. And then I wanna talk about where they are and when I think they're gonna make their return, if I think they're gonna make their return. Okay. So I went into Shane's Twitter, and when you go onto Shane's Twitter, the last tweet he has is his YouTube, whatever that video was. Call it an apology, call it an explanation of his life, whatever you want to call it, okay? And if you go down here below, and that was on 6/26. If you go down here to 6/20, just 6 days before that, he has this video up, Conspiracy Relaunches Live, okay? And then he went and he put on the same day, some of my favorite conspiracy collection memories, and it's a picture of like all of Jeffree Star's, the alien and the blood, the blood sugar and the blue blood and the conspiracy palette all together. And then the palette, and then he's got a picture of Andrew. And then if you go up, there's a picture of Eugenia Cooney. She did a look with the conspiracy palette, and he retweeted it. And then if you go up there, it says on 6/21, I deleted everything. I'm done! For those who wanted me to address it, I did. I am sure you can find it reposted somewhere, but I don't want this energy in my life or on my timeline. I'm too sensitive for this, SHI and I'm done. I think, you know, in retrospect, it's interesting reading that tweet. I don't really think that he's as sensitive as he wanted to act like he was, and I think that's really a huge part of his manipulation tactic to his fans, is that Shane always acted like, I'm too sensitive, you guys, I can't handle stuff, it's too much, right? I am a really sensitive person, and in fact, you know, I just posted a video yesterday of reading like my mom's memory book from when I was like, from before she passed away, that I gave her of all these memories, and I like bawled my eyes out through the whole thing. I am a super sensitive person, okay? And I look at being sensitive as being connected to my emotions, being connected to my feelings. I don't even look at being sensitive as a negative thing, right? And I think that Shane is using the word sensitive, like I can't handle when anybody comes for me or anybody wants me to say this stuff, blah, 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 whatever, right? Well, I'm a sensitive person too, okay? So I relate to what he's saying. But when people want you to come forward, especially your fans and your stans, and they want answers, this tweet, in retrospect, is kind of so bitter sounding, isn't it? It's like, here, you got what you wanted, and I'm done with you, okay? So I wanted to go back in here, because then the next thing he posts is his video on 6/26 where he's sitting there, and it's very scripted, and he's sitting there, you know, on the couch. He and Jeffree Star love those apology couches, don't they? So anyway, I wanted to go in and see, like, everything that went down. So I looked up this article, and this came out on 6/21. Shane Dawson, and this is from The Insider, Shane Dawson aggressively called out dramatic gurus in the beauty community after speculation of his role in the explosive feud between James Charles and Tati Westbrook. And I was like, oh, now I remember. Okay, so let's go back. I'm going to give you guys some of the highlights from The Insider article. Shane Dawson posted an aggressive rant to Twitter about dramatic gurus in the YouTube beauty community after speculation that he quietly influenced the explosive feud between James Charles and Tati Westbrook. So everybody was talking about this. Everybody was speculating that Shane Dawson had a huge part to do with this, okay? And really this started because Jeffree Star went on the Keemstar interview in April, and he said Tati should never put that video out when he had Tati's back before that, if you remember, and all this kind of stuff. And he came out, and Jeffree Star, not once but twice, came out and really poked the bear of this issue. And people were speculating, like, why is Jeffree Star yet again putting himself in the middle? James Charles moved on. Tati Westbrook is kind of gone from the internet. What is this all about? A lot of people, including myself, were really speculating whether or not Shane had a major part to do with this whole thing that happened between Tati and, and everybody was speculating, like, when is Tati going to make a return? Is she going to make a video? And all of this stuff was kind of heating up, on and on and on. And I think sooner or later, people were going to tie Shane Dawson to all of this. And the fact that he didn't include any of it in the series, people had already been talking about that. And so it was kind of like people were hyping it up and wanting to see what was going on. Okay, so then it says, Dawson denied that he orchestrated or planned anything to do with the feud, though he praised Westbrook since deleted by Sister Video and reaffirmed his friendship with Jeffree Star, who slung accusations at Charles and later apologized for his role in the drama. He also said that James could call him up and they could work the whole thing out or something. Do you remember that? Anyway, the celebrity YouTuber deleted his tweets and said he would be leaving Twitter for a few months after the rant received criticism, and he lost more than 20,000 Twitter followers in the hours after posting it. Visit Insider. Oh, you know what we should look at really quick while we're doing this? Is I have not looked at, hold on a second, Jeffree Star's Twitter to see how he is doing since he stopped giving money away. Do y'all remember that? He gave all that money away on the Cash App. Oh, looks like he's back to losing again. He's completely in the red. Can you even see it on here? Completely in the red. He is losing about 2,000 to 3,000, 15 to 2,000 followers a day on Twitter. So now people aren't getting cash from Jeffree Star anymore. They can't be bothered. Okay, so anyway, it goes on. Hold on a second here into the article. More than a year after the explosive feud between James Charles and Tati Westbrook that captured global attention and shook the YouTube beauty community to its core, Shane Dawson released a lengthy statement about his own role in the drama. Okay, and it goes in and talks about Dramageddon 2. Star has appeared in 2 of Dawson's series, and the latest was a lead-up to the pair's record-breaking conspiracy makeup collection, Cash Grab, which Dawson referred to as one of the best experiences of his life in his Twitter rant. And so then they have the Twitter rant here. Hold on just a second. Where do they have it? Okay, it goes on and on and on. This is from Spill Sesh. Okay, and it goes on and it says, welcome to the circus, and this is where he says all this kind of stuff, and he talks about James Charles in here needing a piece of humble pie and all that kind of stuff, right? And then he says he's leaving the beauty community. While Dawson didn't have a public role in the drama between Charles Westbrook and Star, he later alluded to it in his trailer for his conspiracy launch series with Star, but was criticized for not actually addressing it in the series. And remember, he was even like, I don't want to address it, and I'm just going to end the series, and here, you guys get what you want. And he kind of like addressed some of it. It's like, yet again, Shane Dawson put on the spot, okay? And that's arrogance, ego, and pride, right? Like, we're starting to see in small increments when you put it all together. This is before we even know anything about the past issues of what he put on, YouTube. Or you would have if you had looked into that stuff, but I hadn't, So anyway, it goes on and on. Well, but Dawson's rant mainly focused on suspicions that he quietly influenced the feud behind the scenes. Over the past 2 months, those suspicions have been building in the beauty YouTube community and tea community thanks to Star reigniting accusations about Charles in an April 2020 podcast, Keemstar's Mom's Basement. They also arose after a former friend and collaborator of Star's accused Star and Dawson of manipulating him in regards to Dramageddon 2.0 in early June. What is that they're talking about? Oh, that was Cam Lester. Okay, so that was interesting that they chose to include all that in there. Okay, because I was like, who is that? So did I plan Dramageddon? Are you serious? No, Dawson wrote. Well, and reading this back, it's interesting because it's like, well, of course you didn't plan Dramageddon. Did you plan the drama? Did you help instigate the conspiracy of all of this going on? I mean, did you help all this to happen? Who knows, right? But were you really like instigating and planning Dramageddon because you wanted the takedown of the beauty community? No, I don't believe that. I think he needed the beauty community to thrive, to financially make money off the conspiracy palette, and then he was going to walk away. I think that was always Shane Dawson's plan. I think if Shane Dawson could walk away without any drama attached to it, he 100% would have. I think the problem is that he was messing with trouble. He was messing with Jeffree Star, and then James Charles was not going to back down. And then you have Tati Westbrook in the mix, and how and we still to this day don't know the truth other than what she said in her Breaking the Silence video, which came out on 6/30. And by the way, go back and watch that video. It's really interesting watching it again several months later. Okay. So did I plan Dramageddon? Are you serious? No, Dawson wrote. Do people in the YouTube world come to me like a grandpa and ask me for advice? Yes. I bet they won't anymore. Yes, is it easy for me to get wrapped up in something potentially toxic if I think someone I love is hurting or upset? Yes, it's an issue I need to work on and have been working on. I just have a question for you, okay? When you look at the three figures of James Charles, who at the time was 19 years old, Tati Westbrook, who has shared emotionally a lot on video, and Jeffree Star, who almost has never shared on video, right? And he talks about being hard, and he's a BADASS and all this kind of stuff. Who are you feeling sorry for as a friend, right? Is he saying he feels sorry for Tati, or is he feeling sorry for Jeffree Star? Because I've always felt that he aligned and felt sorry for Jeffree Star is what he was saying. But did Jeffree Star really need that much protection? I don't know. In his 4-page rant, Dawson began by addressing the questions that have been circulating in the YouTube community and T community about the Bi Sister video that sparked the feud between Charles and Westbrook. Dawson wrote that he knew Westbrook was thinking about making a video, but he said he had no idea the video was going to be that intense. That's an absolute fabrication. There were people behind the scenes that knew that video was going live before it did, and for Shane to act like he didn't know that video was going to go live when it did, really, Shane? Get on a lie detector test and not that person that everybody else is hiring, okay, that Trisha Paytas said was fake. Dawson praised Bi Sister, writing that that SHI took will be in the history books, although Westbrook deleted the video and apologized for making it and directing abuse towards Charles because of it. In a follow-up statement, Dawson wrote that his praise of Bi Sister did not equate to him thinking Charles deserved the online bullying and followed it, and Dawson wrote, the humbling should have happened off camera. You know, I still to this day don't understand where you get to decide. I mean, I can understand somebody suggesting that somebody needs some humility. I've had people suggest that to me, and they were absolutely right at the time. I can understand being at a point where you say, hey, you know, I think this person, if they were a little bit more humble or they had some humility, whatever. But to say that somebody needs humbling and then to be the one to serve it to them, like, that is so, I don't know, like, that's the epitome of problematic. You know what I mean? Dawson's rant quickly proved unpopular as a social media metrics website. Okay, a social blade started losing people, blah, blah, blah. Back in 2019, when the feud was at its height, Star accused Charles of being a danger to society, of which we still don't have really any answers for. But allegedly, okay, goes on and on and on. Charles also stated that the mass cyberbullying and online abuse that followed Bi Sister and Star's allegations contributing to him wanting to hurt himself, take his life. Another two elements of Dawson's rant that received widespread criticism were his continued defense of Star and his announcement that he was out of the beauty community. Both Star and Dawson have controversial past regarding racist incidents. Star has a long history of making racist comments that he has apologized for, including his use. Okay, it goes on and on and on. The beauty gurus are always involved in scandals, are all the effing same. Okay, in retrospect, reading this statement, no, you chose to hang out with the people, and I'm sure I said this at the time, that were the most problematic. And Shane Dawson, looking back, was probably the most problematic person of all. So you have two of the most problematic people in cahoots together to sell what was to be the greatest release in the makeup industry ever because of the marketing and the hype, right? They are all attention-seeking, game-playing, egocentric, narcissistic, vengeful, two-faced, ticking time bombs ready to explode. He comes out later in the video and he takes part of this back, but yes, Jeffree is on that list of the dramatic gurus, and he would admit that, and he will always be family to me, and I love him despite the... you know what? Listen, pot kettle, you need to look in a mirror, okay? Because that is you, seriously. He is very aware of the fact that I don't agree with many of the ways he approaches situations, and I have been very honest with him about needing to make some changes. I wonder how Jeffree feels about your needing to address situations. You haven't, really, you know? Shane and Shane Dawson twined on Twitter for more than 12 hours after he tweeted and deleted, and it goes on and on and on. The same day Dawson tweeted his rant, he also announced the restock of a mini version of the Conspiracy Palette. He said, I'm done with the beauty world, he wrote. I love what I am able to create with Jeffrey, and I'm sure people are going to assume I only did it for money. Yeah, I do. But that's not true. I just am not choosing to no longer be a part of that world. He never even did looks or anything, right? So then he comes out with this video, you know, the apology video, and that came out on 6/26, and we haven't heard from him since, except for the fact that he came out on Instagram for Ryland's launch of his new the podcast that he's doing with his friend, and he said he wanted to support his best friend and, you know, fiance or whatever. He didn't say fiance, I think he said his best friend and partner in life or something like that, that was very nice. And he came out and he supported Ryland and all that, right? Okay, and that's the last that we have heard from Shane Dawson. So we have not heard from Shane Dawson in almost 4 months. Other than the one day that Ryland is announcing the launch. 4 months, we haven't heard anything from him. Well, I mean, before that, he wasn't posting a video, but every 6 months or once a year. So I don't know that that's a huge thing. I'm sure financially he's riding off of the Conspiracy Palette and things like that and all the merch. Because the merch, I don't know why I get emails, but I still get emails from the merch shop. And so he is still making money off the merch. I'm sure some people out there are buying it. So it makes you wonder, what is Shane Dawson going to do? When is he going to make his return? And, you know, what's next? PewDiePie suggested that he might make a documentary on his own life. I just have to believe, you know, it's interesting when you go through the Twitter responses that he has. At the beginning, it's a lot of, I love you, Shane. I'll always be a fan of yours. I'll always be a super fan of yours. I'll always support you. And there's still some of that, but it's just a sprinkling. People are still commenting and responding to some degree, but it's more like, you know, like people are done with him. People are done with him and people are like, I just don't want anything to do with you anymore and blah, 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 whatever, right? So it makes me wonder, like, what is he going to do when he comes back? I swear to God, I just heard something in this house. My husband walked in. I thought it was a ghost. I was like, is there a ghost talking to me in this house? I was like, hello? Hello? Anyway, what I was saying was, you know, like PewDiePie suggested that he would have to do some documentary series, right? Where he came out and like showed his growth or whatever. I can't remember exactly how he said it. But, you know, even if Shane Dawson did that, even if Shane Dawson came back with this, I don't know, this document, how would you do it? Like, seriously? Like, you would have Andrew film you while you were going to counseling or sitting down doing inventory or working. I don't really know, like, how you would show that in a video, like in a documentary, or maybe, I don't know, going back and showing the history of who you were at that time and why you thought that humor was funny, to kind of go back and explain it away, which I think the problem is that so many people we're kind of sensing Shane Dawson's arrogance and ego at the time that all this happened, that I think it was like they were kind of sitting on the fence anyway, and then this just like took him over. I mean, I don't think Jeffree Star helped Shane Dawson at all, and I think, in fact, I mean, it's a fair statement to say that the moment that his career ended was when he was on the Instagram story doing all that, right? But I think in all, you know, reality, like going back, like this friendship with Jeffree Star has really done him no favors. And that's not to say that Jeffree Star is responsible for Shane Dawson. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying that I think their egos just, I mean, they are both egomaniacs, and they just grew and grew and grew to this point where they, I think, seem to themselves unstoppable, right? And it was starting to be seen, and then you would get a faker version of Shane because Shane didn't really know how to respond to his fans anymore in any kind of real or authentic way, because I think somewhere along the way, he lost a real Shane Dawson. You know, Jeffree Star sitting there and saying, you deserve to make so much more money off your merch, which I'm not saying that at the time he didn't, but I'm just saying, like, he's like, all of a sudden, his financial value and worth goes up in his head. And this whole, I'm poor, I'm poor, I'm poor, he can't play that out anymore because he doesn't really believe it inside, and I don't really think he ever did anyway. You know, do I think that he came from very little and made his life? Yes, I do. But do I think that he believed that he was, like, poor? No. And I think that he couldn't hide it anymore. So he was playing one Shane Dawson to his audience and another Shane Dawson to his close friends and family, and they weren't merging together anymore. And I think that, and then what happened was the explosion of Shane Dawson's past came out, and people were like, and then he just doesn't know how to handle it. So what would he do? I don't know what he'll do. You know, I've said for a while that Shane Dawson is probably going to, if he wants to have any kind of career on YouTube, he's going to probably just have to, like, come back at some point and say, you know what, like, I'm going to get the criticism that I'm going to get, and if people like me, they like me, and if they don't, they don't. you know? And then he's gonna have to just come back. And I think if Shane Dawson does that, I think it will be around the beginning of the new year. I think he'll tweet something out around the end of the year and say something about 2020. And then I think he'll come back after the new year and he'll post something. And I think it will be like a life update video. And I think that, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do it. I think it'll have to do a lot with like being with Ryland and his family in the house and things like that and what he's been going through. But the thing is that people aren't going to feel sorry for him. It's like, I mean, he is in a chess match. There's really like no moves left, you know? I mean, it's kind of checkmate at this point for him. I don't know what he's going to do. Like, the only thing he really can do is come back and just take the loss. You know, which then it's like, well, why have you been gone so long, you know? But if he didn't, you know, I think people would criticize him. But at the same time, it's like, well, James Charles has gone on, Jeffree Star has gone on, and this whole thing, Shane Dawson is now, I mean, I have to wonder if he is so bitter at Jeffree Star, because Jeffree Star, if Shane Dawson's involved in whatever went down with Dramageddon 2, if Shane Dawson is involved at all, that is also because he was with Jeffree Star. Like, he wouldn't have been involved in that if it weren't for his friendship with Jeffree Star, which means Jeffree Star to some degree is involved as well, if not equally, right? And then Shane Dawson's the one that, like, it was just, you know, Shane Dawson was the one that, like, lost everything, not just because of Dramageddon 2, but because, you know, Jeffree Star's going on. He's releasing Halloween boxes and not worried about all this kind of stuff, and you never hear him hardly talk about Shane Dawson, right? So where's that friendship today, this diehard brotherhood friendship that they talked about? Tati, I don't know what's going to happen with her. You know, I feel one of two ways. I think that Tati will either come back and she will announce some huge life update changes in her personal life, which I don't want to speculate about. Or I think that she will come back in 2021. I think she'll let the whole year go. And I think she'll come back and it will just be with a Tati video. Like, and I think she actually can do that. I think Tati can come back and just say, and not even say in a video, I'm not addressing this anymore, I'm not dealing with this anymore. She doesn't need to say it. I think she could just come back and start posting videos again, not do collabs with people, just do her reviews. And I think over time, she would gain some of that popularity back. See, the thing that people don't understand is, like, as critical as they were of Manny MUA and Laura Lee, no, not the other Laura Smith, Laura Lee. But as critical as they were of them, like, they took some time off and then they came back and they were like, hey, listen, we're just going to take it, you know? And that's where Manny, even though people think this is the corniest statement in the entire world, I actually kind of liked it when Manny said, you know, my social blade may be in red, but my personal life is in green, or however he said it. And basically what he was saying was he needed that time to reevaluate and see who he was. Maybe Shane and Tati need to come out with a video and stop pointing fingers and blaming everybody, and they need to come out and say, you know, like, this is where I'm at today, this is what I've looked at with myself, this is who I want to be going forward, and then down, you know, and never address it again, and then move on, right? Or take responsibility, and then address it, and then never move it on. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think what happened was, with Dramageddon 2, that in retrospect, I don't really, like, what I have experienced personally from Tati and what I have seen of her on video, which match and align, I will tell you, she doesn't seem as arrogant and cocky as Jeffree, Shane, and James in my interactions with all of them. But I could be completely wrong. Tati could be as arrogant and cocky and calculating as the rest of them. I have no idea, right? But I have to believe to some degree, okay, these people that have these huge careers and these huge followings, you know, that it's gone to their head, they're, you know, they're egotistic, they're arrogant, they're cocky, right? You have 4 people fighting for dominance. I mean, that is like 4 alpha dogs, right? Like, that is just a recipe for disaster. So how do you come back from all of this that's out there? Because, you know, like Shane Dawson said, like, I didn't plan Dramageddon. No, I don't think that he did. I think Shane Dawson started planning things, and I think Shane Dawson is much more a gossip and a talker than he ever wants anybody to know. And I think he was talking to Jeffree, and he was talking to this person, and oh my God, this, and oh my God, that, and Tati, you got to do this, and blah, 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 whatever. And they're all in on it. They're having these late night phone calls and texting each other, and can you believe this? And Andrew's filming all of it. And then all of a sudden, he says something about it, and he puts it in this trailer, which was Shane Dawson's biggest mistake. And he puts it in this trailer, and then all of a sudden, you know, everybody is like, where's the drama? And then he's like, oh, there is no drama, right? Because he knows if he comes out and he addresses the drama, that James Charles, I don't think Tati so much at that point, but I think he thought James Charles would come out and he would tell some truths and be like, you know why you don't want anybody to know? Because you're implicated in this as well. I really do believe that. Because James Charles has walked away from this like, I don't care. You know, y'all make your videos, you keep on coming out and saying stuff about me. I'm just continuing to rise to the top. And it's worked for James. James staying out of all of that as the youngest of all of these people, he played it really smart. And the moment that he decided, I am done with all these people and I'm just going to focus on myself, that was James' smartest move. They're all still kind of consumed with this. I mean, Shane Dawson's literally like sitting on a couch probably like, what's my next move, you know? People are speculating he's going to come out with this horror movie and all this kind of stuff. I mean, he has screwed himself in the mainstream community as well. I mean, there's not a lot of people in Hollywood that are real happy with Shane Dawson right now, you know? So I don't know how well received that horror movie would be unless he posted it on his YouTube channel. I don't know. Like, he is going to have to do something. You know, in all honesty, I mean, I'm just a drama channel. You know, people are like, oh, these people should hire you. No, I'm not that smart. I'm really not when it comes to this stuff. He really needs to hire an image consultant, and he needs to hire a counselor or therapist or life coach and sit down and say, I need to work on myself and I need to fix myself, and then I need to look at my, you know, my career second, because I don't think he needs the money, you know, and I don't think Tati needs the money either. Tati may never come back. There's a part that I think, like, Shane is so, I think, there's a part of Shane that really needs to be liked by the YouTube world and the community that I think that he's going to come back at some point to try to make this right. I don't know when. It could be a year from now. It could be 2 years from now. Tati, I don't think she cares as much. I think she could walk away from it except for her love of makeup. I really, really, truly do believe that she loves makeup and she loves her brand. And then you look at all of this stuff, just all of this. It's so sad, isn't it? It reminds me of the end of Fargo. Have you guys ever seen Fargo? When Frances McDormand, the police officer, is sitting there and she's looking in the backseat of the guy that like put a hit out on his wife for money. And she's like, all of this for money. You know, and that's what's really so sad about all of this is like, you know, Jeffree Star's brand is suffering. James Charles, well, he's thrived to the top. But, you know, it's affected his reputation. Shane Dawson's no longer here. And no, it's not just because of Dramageddon. But this stuff was breaking the seal off. This is what got it started. You know, and then Jeffree Star, his business is suffering and Tati's gone, right? So it's like people's dreams are being affected because they got so consumed with power and money. So consumed with it. It's really sad, isn't it? Anyway, what do you guys think? When do you think they'll make their return, or do you think they'll make their return? Let me know in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.